Okay, good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. For the record, I'm Matthew Cherry, TABC Senior Counsel. And just as a reminder, we have one item today, but this is an initial draft to receive feedback from industry, and this has not yet been proposed to the Commission. However, it is staff's intent to place this draft rule on the agency's March Commission meeting agenda so the Commissioners can vote to actually formally propose the rule and publish it in the Texas Register for public comment. Once proposed, there will be an additional public meeting and then a formal comment period. Lastly, please try to provide any written feedback by March 1st, 2026, so we can discuss internally and make any adjustments if needed before presenting the rule to the Commission. So I'm going to start with our one agenda item. So this draft rule adds subsection E to current rule 41.12 relating to compliance reporting. And just as a reminder, we previously amended this rule to extend the amount of time to submit compliance reports up to 6 months. Yet we still have a large percentage of permit and license holders who are not even attempting to submit compliance reports. So we are going through this process to add an additional type of a specific written warning solely for the failure to submit a compliance report. What the rule does is allows for issuance of this written warning without a hearing before SOA. And I do want to state that the warning applies, again, only to compliance reports, and it purely is just a letter that's documenting that that compliance report had not been filed. Our intent is that this warning would not count as a violation for purposes of future bond revocations. And then additionally, the warning would not be imposed automatically, and actually staff would be communicating and interfacing with license and permit holders prior to issuance of any written warning for failure to submit compliance reports. And with that, I will open the floor for any comments.
Good morning, Matthew. This is Amy Harrison. Thank you for the opportunity. A couple of things, and I appreciate your comments about the fact that this would not have any effects on bonds that may already be posted. But my comment would be that when a permit holder receives a warning and they go to obtain bonds for perhaps other locations, bonding companies, before they write those bonds, look at violation history, as they should. And so this would give the perception of, course, a violation, which it is, and that a warning was issued. However, the permit holder's not getting an opportunity, from what I understand, to discuss the reasons for that warning and whether it was actually due. One of the things that I may have missed that you said was that before a warning would be issued, TABC would talk to the permit holder and confirm that they were enabled to complete the report?
Yes, staff would be communicating before issuance of the warning. And what I was wanting to really point out is that issuance of the warning is not automatic. Obviously, you utilize the electronic or digital compliance reporting system. So if at the end of that 180-day period, a compliance report has not been submitted, the system is not going to then just automatically on the next, 181st day issue the written warning. There is going to be some interface with the license and permit holder, with the license permit holder between staff as well.
So before a warning would be issued, a permit holder would have an opportunity to defend themselves, for lack of a better word, as a reason why they did not complete the report.
Yep, they would have the opportunity to discuss whatever their circumstances are with staff.
Well, that's great news. My other comments are not specifically directed to the changes, but to the rule as a whole. When we started this, there were a lot of unknowns, and I feel like as time has progressed, everybody has learned new things. And a good example is B. Each permittee and licensee with a premise in Texas must prepare and file an automated report. That's not true. Carriers, for example, do not file this report, and it's a source of confusion. And I would highly recommend that the commission, in drafting this rule and having this opportunity for changes, I am a product of dear Ed Swedberg, bless his heart, God rest his soul. He taught us that when you open up a rule, you look at it for all changes to bring about better service. And I would appreciate that recognition that there are issues with the rule that could bring clarity to the industry, and B is a very good example. The other thing that I would point to is that there is a lot of confusion due to the programming of AIMS that makes a report appear to be required and due when in reality it's not. And that is a huge source of confusion. It's very difficult to point to, even with your own staff, because it's not in the rule. However, it's on the web page, and it would be appreciated if at the time that this rule is being looked at, that you compare it to the web page that you've created to bring clarity, and perhaps put those things in the rule so that the rule is not as vague as it is and inaccurate, and you have an opportunity to bring clarity. And the required versus not required reports that AIMS loads is one specifically, and the listing of the actual permits that are required, because it's not every licensee or permittee with a premise in Texas. So I appreciate those comments. I very much appreciate the opportunity, and more so the fact that there will be conversation before that warning's issued, and if that could be included in the rule, that this is not just an automatic warning, but that a permit holder has an opportunity to bring clarity because of the fact that this does have long-term effects. If I'm at location 407 and there's AIMS issues and I'm unable to complete my report, I get that warning, then the next year I'm still unable to do that location because of AIMS issues. Now I'm looking at something more severe. So that would be my comments, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, likewise, we appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Matthew, Marcus Schwartz here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. I assume this is the case, but can you confirm that this is not changing in any way the website guidance? Somewhat goes to Amy's comment, but that effectively not just carriers, for instance, but any permit issued in 2025 or 2026 also don't have to do compliance reporting. Is that still the case with this rule? It's not changing that?
I'm checking with staff, and my understanding is yes, that is still the case. This rule is not changing any of that at all. This is solely for compliance reports that were clearly already due, that were not submitted within that 6-month time period.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
All right. Does anyone else have any comments to make on the proposed draft rule?
Hello, sir. Daniel Molina here with Vicente LLP. Just curious, I believe the answer is yes, but I'm curious what the interaction with this rule and the TABC licensees selling hemp products. I assume that any location licensed by TABC, whether or not they sell hemp products, is going to be encapsulated by this. Is that accurate?
Yeah, this has no bearing on whether or not a license or permit holder happens to sell hemp products.
Just so long as they are a licensee, this will apply.
Yes, this applies to TABC license and permit holders, just irrespective of any hemp sales.
Thank you very much.
All right. Does anyone else have any comments to make on the draft rule? Okay, I am not hearing or seeing any hands raised, so I'd like to thank everybody for attending today. And just as a reminder, please try to submit any comments, any written comments by March 1st, 2026. Those written comments may be submitted via email to rules@tabc.texas.gov or by regular mail addressed to the Office of the General Counsel, TABC at P.O. Box 13127, Austin, Texas, zip code 78711. Thank you.